Hey everybody. Hi. Hello. How are you doing? Whew. Had a little technical difficulty tonight. Nothing tragic. Well, I mean it almost was, but everything's fine. It's going to be just fine. It's good to be here with everybody. Yeah, I mean, how are you doing? I think people are I don't know. I feel like 2023 is, it's here. We're in the last days of January at this point. It's like, do we have a vibe for 2023? Is it presenting itself to us? Do we know her? Do we know her? Did we ever know 2022, and do we know 2023? Stephanie Cake's here. God, I really am grateful for you. How are you doing, Steph?
I'm doing well. I've had a good weekend so far.
Good. 2023, how's it setting up? I mean, it's just it's hints. We only have hints yet, but...
Yeah, I mean, it crept on the scene. It's standing in the corner. It's holding a mimosa. We'll see.
Okay, girl. Okay. She's surveying. She's like, do I want to stay at this party? Do I want to... It's a mimosa, so it's brunch. This is interesting. So 2023 is brunch. Interesting.
Yeah. We're not quite jumping out of bed every day excited to greet the day, but we're also not like crying into our midnight snack either. So
it's 2023 it's a brunch kind of year. It's very it's late to arrive, but might still do things later. That's really funny. I really like that. Like what meal is your year? Like, mine's a late night snack. I pretty much pulled up a chair and sat at the refrigerator in 2020. So I'm going for 2023 being a glamorous brunch with my best girlfriends and boyfriends. That's really good. So one of my favorite comedians, Patton Oswalt, he has his many funny bits, but one of the things I've never forgotten, he said in a what was it? I don't know. A few years ago. Anyway, one of his specials, like 2017 maybe. He says, there's something called show health. Show health. And he's like, if you're a performer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can be super sick. You can be hungover. But you can be like pretty sick. But if you have to go on, it's show health. You're able to do the show because the show must go on, And I don't feel great. I don't feel too good. I mean, the beginning of this show that I'm having fun and talking about how 2023 is brunch incarnate is remarkable to me because I feel pretty bad. But it's show health, and it really is a real thing. So I always say that, I'm gonna try not to go too long tonight but I am feeling a bit under the weather, so I have to pace myself. Said Mary Fons never. Hey, it's Mary White. You like the stream? I'm so glad, Mary. And everybody who's here so far coming in, and I apologize for being late. We usually start about 10 minutes after the hour because notifications go on to different people at different times, and it's the internet, it's magic, but it's also terrible. So I was a little late tonight, and I do apologize for that. Rosa and Naflinstar is here. Kitty Hannah. Auntie Sin, eat your coat. It's great to see everybody, and I'm glad you're here for Quilt Nerd. So anyway, we got show health, and I've got really fun stuff for you. There's a video I want to watch. We have to finish the video. We're gonna have to do it next week. We will do that next time. We're gonna take things easy. What is that? The Tina Turner and Ike, Proud Mary. First, we're gonna take it slow, and then we're gonna go easy, and then we get rough. We get a little rough. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna go easy tonight. We're not gonna go rough tonight. We're gonna go easy, and I have something wonderful to share with you. I mean, Steph, if I hadn't had technical difficulties, I would have told you first. Because I can't wait to show you. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love it.
I love surprises.
Yeah, you're gonna like this one. This one is pretty awesome. So, this whole birth and Mexstroth stuff, right? We've been checking in on research and development. Oh my gosh. Hey, Susan Sparks. Susan Sparks, you like the stream? That's amazing. Thanks, Susan Sparks. Susan Sparks, Michael. So here is something that I have. Here's something that I have gotten here. Let me get small. So I'm researching this lady. If you're new to the show, we like to get nerdy about quilt stuff, around here. And so I'm researching this lady, Bertha Mextroth, and I got, finally, the other day, the scans from LSU that contained a lot of her unpublished autobiography. Yeah. I thought I requested all the pages in the autobiography, but I missed some. So like a lot of her early life I actually don't have. But look at what this looks like. This is wild, you guys. Like sorry. I'm gonna show you a very important scan. But she wrote about her life. Here's one thing I can share with you. She says on chapter 575, like there's a ton of pages of her writing her life. This is a quilter, genius, fabulous, amazing, wronged in her lifetime, a triumph and tragedy kind of tale, Bertha Mextroth. She says, quote, "Should one need to free himself from a situation, okay, the time to do so is during a summer vacation. Then, no matter how firmly one's roots seem fastened in the soil during the rest of the year, even the ties of everlasting friendship seem to loosen their hold, so that to leave during such chaos is almost easier than not." It's pretty kind of a bummer, Bertha, but also cool. So many of you will know now at this point that Bertha knew Helen Keller. She went to Radcliffe with Helen Keller. Well, check that out. There are not many images in this. I know, right? I know. So Bertha knew Helen Keller at Radcliffe, and Bertha Mextroth was the one person said Helen Keller. This was not just like Bertha being like, I was the only person who learned Braille, but Helen Keller said in her papers or whatever that Bertha Mextroth, her classmate at Radcliffe, was the only person who spoke to her in her language. And so this quilter learned Braille, and she copied a book of poems for Helen Keller, and that is Helen Keller, and that is Helen Keller writing to Bertha Mextroth, with my love, Helen Keller. Pretty amazing, right? Who's saying comrade? Who's saying this comrade? 575 pages. Yeah, pages Sherlock. Hey, Sherlock. Oh, Pecky Belly, it's so great to see you, Pecky Belly. So that's pretty neat. And look at this typesetting, right? I mean, I want to type in a typewriter that is all caps. It's so angry. Bertha, all caps. It's so rude. No, it looks really neat. Anyway, so there's just lots of treasures in here. And I mean, wow, God, incredible. I love Helen Keller. Oh, crazy. So I'm going through all of that, and I called that lady, Barbara Benson, I called her again because we talked right before the holidays, and I'll get to something about her later. But anyway, she's sending me a lot of stuff. She's sending me boxes of stuff. I'm excited. Okay, anyway. So, Quilt Nerd, we don't teach you how to make quilts here. We talk about quilts and the culture of quilts and in North America, but we go all around the world in this show, because we really think that learning about quilts gives you the ability to learn about the whole world. I mean, when's the last time you saw a picture of Helen Keller, right? From 1903? Ever? No. It's a beautiful thing to see this. This is a remarkable person, she really had a lot of challenges, that many of us could never imagine. And she did that, and she was friends with this wonderful quilter. So, a quilter, by the way, who wouldn't make her first real quilts until she was 50. Bertha Mextroth didn't really do her thing until she was 50. So, don't worry about, I don't know what you got going on at any given time. Quack Quack Cat, hey, it's so good to see you all. Is Dee Marie in here? Dee Marie, okay, first of all, I have a few thank you notes that Jill, Alex, I just have a stack of thank you notes. So if you haven't gotten one from me yet, and you should, I know you should too, and I'm working on that, and just want to connect with people. It's been pretty crazy around here. But Dee Marie, I'm glad you're in there. I think you are. Okay. So this quilt here is our intro quilt, and this is I promised you I would do this on the last show. This is this tumbling blocks quilt that shows up absolutely everywhere. It's like the cat came back quilt. This quilt,
or the free bird of quilts.
Oh yeah, the free bird of quilt. I have to write that down. The free bird of quilts. If I wouldn't get copyright smacked, I'd play free bird during this entire segment. Okay. The free bird of quilts says cake.
Will they give you the DCMA strike? Will they give you that for 10 seconds of free bird?
Probably.
I mean, I could sing it. It wouldn't sound
do
like
it,
free
do
bird,
it, do it, do it.
I don't remember.
I know. It's so long. It's so long.
If I leave here tomorrow.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to. Maybe it's the oncoming flu is making me really excited. But I do have to tell you, I watched a documentary yesterday that I had never seen. It's a classic, Dogtown and Z-Boys, man. Dogtown and Z-Boys, about the Southern California surfer kids living in a slum, basically, in Southern California, who pretty much invented modern skateboarding. It's surfing. They were surfing. Anyway, it's wonderful. It's a classic documentary. I had never seen it. Dogtown and Z-Boys. I cannot recommend it enough. It was phenomenal. Freebird kind of made me think about, like, California, right? Laurel Canyon, that kind of thing. Okay, so, oh, wow. Do you know what this quilt is called in this book? This tumbling blocks quilt. This is so weird. They call it Stairway to Heaven. What? No, wait just a damn minute. That's weird. It's so weird. Why?
Sorry, folks. Wrong band.
Oh my God. I'm gonna die. Okay. That's weird. Okay.
It's weird height.
Thank you. Wow. Hey, Broel. Angelina, hey. Teeny Brew Crew. Cupid Terror. Scrappitude. I'm behind. Hey, Jeanette. So Stairway to Heaven. So this quilt just shows up a lot. It shows up in a lot of different books that I have on the shelf, that many of you have on your shelves. Here's what it says in this, the 20th century's best American quilts, which was this, can't go into it right now, but the 100 best quilts of the 20th century were picked in 1999 by a consortium of people. And this was one of them, this quilt. Let me zoom out again, this one. So it's, you really see it a lot. It's published a lot. I mean, it just shows up a lot. So 1930, circa 1930, 94 by 108, cotton, machine pieced, hand quilted. And this, at the time they published this, it was in the collection of Levi Strauss. Interesting, yes. And somebody who was involved with building that collection or buying for that collection was Rod Kirikoff. He had a hand in that. I mean, it's in his bio, So here's what they have to say about it. Quote, Midwestern Amish quilt makers were far less conservative than their Pennsylvania brethren, and their quilts seem more a part of the modern world. While women in Amish communities in Ohio, Illinois, Nebraska, and other Midwestern states also focused exclusively on pieced quilts, they often chose to work patterns used by non-Amish quilt makers of the time, such as log cabin, tumbling blocks, baskets, double wedding ring, broken star, Star of Bethlehem, and Irish chain. The way they used these patterns, however, their arrangements, color choices, backgrounds, and borders and sashes resulted in quilts that look distinctly different from those of their contemporaries, as do Lancaster Amish works. Oh, Lancaster. I was giving a tour at QuiltCon years ago, and I said Lancaster, and this woman was like, afterwards she was like, Mary, can I talk to you? And I was like, oh God, what did I do? And she was like, it's Lancaster. And I was like, sorry? She was like, Lancaster. It's really different. I mean, it's like Lancaster. It's not Lancaster. You heard it here.
Most things in the Mid-Atlantic, and I would say even New England, and possibly, well, a lot of stuff in the South too, is not pronounced the way it's spelled.
Amherst. Amherst, right? I did that wrong too. And then I think I've told
most of the towns in Virginia.
Yeah.
Having grown up there, yes.
Right, Roanoke. I've probably told the story before where, you know, my beautiful boyfriend in college, you know, David, okay, Jewish family, and I'm in the car with his parents, really trying to make a good impression, and I was like, you know, yeah, we're talking about somebody. I was like, she had a lot of chutzpah, let me tell you. His mother was like, honey, it's chutzpah. I was like, okay, great. Never forget that. Okay, this carefully organized Midwestern Amish tumbling block variation quilt sets the blocks, each actually made up of 3 diamond-shaped pieces of contrasting colors, into a dramatic series of overlapping pyramids. By placing the lightest color diamond in each block at the top, yeah, it's pretty amazing. This quilt is really cool. The quilt maker created the illusion of a series of V-shaped steps. Black, a favorite color of Midwestern Amish quilt makers, is used extensively to create an ambiguous visual field, full of high contrast and shifting rhythms. Background and foreground constantly change positions, pulsing back and forth as the eye runs up and down stair steps, trying and invariably failing to find a reliable focal point. It's kind of poetic. Runs and so forth. Okay, so we'll see this quilt again because what have you done? I went and found this quilt in other spots, right? Like I said, it's published in a bunch of different books. It's like you open a quilt book and out comes this particular quilt. But and so I was looking for other instances of it, and I found a puzzle, and I was like, oh yeah, it totally has its own puzzle. But I actually think, I mean, is this different? Like the color, you have to be careful because when you look at, you know, Harriet Power's Bible quilt published in the Fabric of a Nation book, as, you know, published in a Robert Shaw book from like 1990, like the colors, you know, if you see a picture reproduced enough, you realize like, oh wow, color in printing is like a thing you have to consider. Until you see the original, you can't really know. So, I mean, there's tumbling blocks quilts are, it's a thing, like it's a pattern. People have done it for a long time. It's a pretty standard. I mean, it's really old. You see like English patchwork, you know, really older stuff like 18th century, maybe older, I don't know, that has that. But this is a different quilt though. But this is a different quilt because it's not got that like 3 shades of one, you know, like we were seeing the other quilt had like 3 shades of pink in one, you know, one box, in one block. So it does seem that it's different, but it's got a puzzle, which is cool. Yeah. Sherlock says, I love that Midwest Amish quilts extensively used black. That was always a rule I heard, no black in piecework. I heard the same thing, and it was the modern quilt people who freed me to make a quilt with black fabric in it. Really, because I just never, it wasn't, Fons and Porter, they didn't use black fabric for a while. I mean, in growing up, I didn't really see black fabric as being part of the look. So anyway, so this is a nice puzzle. It is available, by the way. Oh, and this is interesting. Look at the D. Young. Yeah, this is a different quilt entirely. Okay, that's fine. But this is available on eBay. I mean, I think it was like $14 or something. You can find it. Pomegranate. Good puzzle. So this is definitely our quilt, right? This is a reproduction. I believe this was taken at Paper Pieces Quilt Shop in Kentucky, in Paducah. I can't remember. We were on the Quilt Folk trip. It was Kentucky. It was many lives ago. And I don't remember more than that. I don't know if this is an antique quilt or if it's a reproduction, you know, a more modern reproduction. I'm not sure. But it's the quilt for sure. Like that is definitely, that's our girl. It was huge. The only way we could photograph it was to put it up over that railing. I was really glad that there was a railing. Yeah, but there's those different shades, right? of the same thing. It's a good one. Hey, Michael Friedrich. It's great to see you. Quilting Nancy, Mother Nature. Echo So, I'm so glad you're here. Oh, your Echo So's mom had her wedding reception at that house? Really? In Paducah? That's fantastic. I love that. It's a wonderful space. Hexie House. She was lovely. Everything was great. Paducah's great. When is the big show? Is it in March? No. Is it March? I think it is.
Yeah, don't look at me. Look at the nerds. They know these things.
Nerds.
I'm terrible about dates.
Yeah, I am too. And Paducah was a show in my life in quilts. It has not been, always go to market, like QuiltCon, like all that stuff. But Paducah it was a different, that's how big the quilt world is and how healthy it is, right? There's all these different avenues, that you can go into. So this.
End of April.
Yeah, End of April. Okay. So this is available on Cherish. I didn't get, wait, did I? Yeah, $1,200 last time I checked. Cherish.com. Quilts Unlimited. I'll tell you more about that in a second. So Enormous Tumbling Blocks Classic Quilt. Oh, that's my file name, sorry. Mid-century, $1,200. So here's what's interesting about this one. This is interesting. I like this art up here. It's like this Blade Runner type, like flipping off the, I don't know, the aliens coming to destroy Earth or something. I don't know. But this person is selling this quilt, and this is our quilt for sure. It's inverted from the way we've seen it so far, but here it is again. So this is a strange picture because the corrugated metal. What you're seeing there, it looks almost like lace or something on the quilt. That's the wall. So you have this corrugated steel and then this metal piece, and so the quilt is being reflected in that. It's very odd, but it's a strange shape. What's going on here? This is the quilt. This is the quilt for sure from the intro, right? That's the one. I mean, it's not the quilt, but it's someone, they've done a reproduction, whoever's made this. Okay, so who did make this? There's a couple other pictures of it. Yeah, I mean, it's the three colors, it's that whole thing. Drink wine and so Lynn, Kenny. Yay. I'm so glad to see everyone. I enjoy your company tremendously. So check this out. So Quilts Unlimited. I think we saw this before. I mean, I remember talking about it on the show. I don't know at what point we talked about it, but this is a manufactured, a quilt. I mean, it's a mass manufactured. Quilts Unlimited, Williamsburg, Virginia, Lewisburg, West Virginia, the Homestead. Snowmass, I was probably Snowmass, Colorado, Charlottesville, Virginia. So yeah. We talked about this. I was looking into it. What was this place? Quilts Unlimited. What was the deal? And you know what? That's a research project. What is this about? Because they made this. And sold them, but it seems like a small batch operation. It seems like they were made in the U.S. I don't know. Maybe the Cherish. Steph, can you look for that Cherish listing? I mean, if you look for Quilts Unlimited Cherish tumbling blocks, I mean Quilts Unlimited tumbling blocks mid-century and Cherish, I think you'll find it. It should be pretty easy. So that's an interesting deal. What's that all about? But they knew that quilt would be popular, so they did it. This one is interesting. Just a couple more here on this, but it's curious. So Amish Country Lanes. Amish Country Lanes is a quilt manufacturer and sailor. And so Amish Country Lanes, I don't have the URL for you, but if you Google, quilts for sale, Amish Country Lanes, you'll find this one. This is $1,100. And it's a different saturation, it's a different the hues are a little bit different, but the design is clearly the same. And pretty cool. So this is for sale, $1,100, and they are, It's a different one. They're selling it, and they're all handmade. I mean, I think it's Amish folks making quilts, right? Hey, Lisa Riggs.
If you would like that same tumbling block quilt on Cherish for only $900, there's another seller.
Interesting. Let's make this interesting, people. Place your bets. I love the mass manufactured quilts. I think it's really interesting, these ones from the 80s, because it was this moment in time where you could still get, finished quilts at a quilt shop. You could buy them, and then suddenly there's more mass manufacturing, globalization, and like outside of the country. And it's just an interesting thing because this quilt is such an American sort of, icon of Americana and all that stuff. It's interesting when that bashes into like globalization. Yeah. And this is yet another one. Oh no, yeah, Amish Country Lanes. Okay. That's I think it's the same company. It looks like a different quilt, but maybe it's just the light. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you can have one of your own. The quilting looks nice on the bottom there. And then the Esprit collection, very famous collection. This is the Esprit headquarters in the 1990s. Sharon Reisdorf took the photos. Doug and Susie Lee Tompkins, is that right? Were avid quilt collectors. Amish quilts were their jam, and they owned Esprit. And in the Esprit headquarters in San Francisco, in California for sure, I'm pretty sure it's San Francisco, and there were Amish quilts all over the office. It's wonderful. These photographs are gorgeous, and that's, it's not the quilt, but I mean it's the same thing. I mean, there's so many tumbling block quilts. There's so many of those, baby blocks or tumbling blocks, but there's this specific pattern, this specific layout that it just comes up because it's great, right? Like, it's really, really cool. It looks really good, and I want to work at Esprit in 1989. I wanted to wear Esprit in 19. Did you have Esprit? Did you have any Esprit?
Oh, I had like one or two Esprit things. I coveted Esprit.
Oh God.
Because those were kind of pricey.
Yeah, we could. Yeah,
they were kind of pricey clothes.
We had, and like Hannah had an Esprit sweatshirt, which then I had the same one later, and then Rebecca might have been like, ugh, lame. But yeah, Esprit was great, man. It seemed so cool. It was cool. It was like Benetton. I don't know. We definitely couldn't have afforded Benetton. And then the last image for the tumbling blocks is this, kind of an outlier, kind of a curve ball. But when I was looking up tumbling blocks, quilts and stuff, this came over the transom. Because the algorithm in the Googles is weird, but it makes sense, It's because the tumbling blocks is an optical illusion, and that's what they said in the text, that I read earlier. I mean, it really is kind of that. Yeah, I mean, the person said it. Your eye doesn't know where to land because each block interlocks with another one, and it's great. Michelle, I love Escher too, and I was looking at that picture, and he has a name. It's MC is his, is like an abbreviation, and I'd never read his name before. I bet a bunch of you know. Let's see, MC Escher. It was just weird because I had never. Oh, Maritz Cornelius Escher. Maritz Cornelius Escher. You see, I said you go around the world when you look at quilts. We were Helen Keller. We met tonight. We were meeting Maritz. MC Escher. Why not? Okay.
So is this a bit of a quilt pun? So Nine Patch becomes Flying Geese?
Oh, yes. Oh my God.
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
You're on fire tonight. I think perhaps the fever that I am starting to get is like transferring hotness to Steph, but nothing else. This is not new. I mean, about Stephanie being hot. Like, my fever is, anyway, it's fine. That was really good, though. That was really good. Becoming Flying Keys. I like it. I'm into it. So I said I wasn't going to go late. And so here's what I think we're going to do. I mean, I got to try to just, like George Michael says in Freedom 90, speaking of the 90s, take these lies and make them true somehow. You remember, Freedom 90? It's so great. It's like, Mary, make it true that you're going to make the show shorter, So now is the moment of truth. Let's go to a cake break. And when we come back, we'll do this other section that I think is really, really fun. And it's, it's eye candy and it's reflection. God, I think I'm getting the flu. Okay. All right. It's cake. I'm going to toss it to you.
All right.
Let's do this. Okay. I'll be back. Y'all are doing great. Okay. Here we go.
All right. Yeah. Yes. When can Mary ever stay under time?
I don't know.
Mary and I could literally talk forever. And sometimes we're like, oh, the show's supposed to start.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay.
So you guys, it has been a really good Saturday for me. I got to sew today, and I work probably 8 days a week sometimes, but I just sewed today for me. And I took the postcards from Provence workshop with Jenny Smith and Kay Walsh through Quilt Folk, if you're not familiar. And I think that there's a number of nerds that are in there. I know I saw at least one person today. But yeah, that they are such delightful ladies. If you've never taken a class with Jenny or Kay, they're in the UK. They're from Yorkshire. And they're just the sweetest, cutest ladies. And they're such great teachers. And so, I've never loved like the French Provence stuff. This is terrible, but I've always kind of looked at the sort of like those prints. They're not quite the same as like the British prints, but I think they're called Indian prints. So they're based on those type of like paisleys and the types of like calico prints you saw coming out of India. But you would recognize them if you saw them. I'm probably not doing a good job of describing them. You could certainly Google, provincial or Provence fabrics. They're beautiful fabrics. I've always thought that they kind of remind me of Vera Bradley bags, and that's not fair, but it was just a really super, super workshop. And if you've never taken any of the Quilt Folk workshops, I think the very first one I did was actually with Kay and Jenny and Mary, which was the Bronte class, which I think a lot of you probably took. That one was so much fun. So it's that kind of thing where you take the workshop and you learn some new skills and you learn how to make a quilt or a wall hanging, and you learn all this cool history and geography and all kinds of neat stuff. So, and Quilt Folk's not paying me to say this. I just really like the classes. But I learned something really interesting today in the class. And that is that batting, and I don't know if is this specifically cotton batting or if it's like the machine-made batting that we use today of any type. Apparently it has a top and a bottom, or a front and a back. Did you guys know this? That batting, I mean, maybe some of the long armers know this. I don't know if I saw Ivana on here tonight, but I'm interested to know if you guys know this. And they demonstrated, I think Kay demonstrated this, where she was holding the batting and she showed, she had a sewing machine needle, and she said she kind of bounced it on the top of the batting like she was going to stick the needle through. And she said, when you're pushing it through the back side of the batting or the wrong side of the batting, you're sort of getting like a little popping sensation. Like there's a little bit of difficulty putting the needle through, but then when you flip it over to the quote unquote right side, it glides right through. And I have literally never heard this. And I'm like, wow, this could be a game changer. So obviously if you're machine quilting your quilts, you quilt them top side up generally, then yes, I would consider checking this on your batting. And whether you're, not even machine quilting, if you're hand quilting, yeah. So you learn something new every day. I also, again, I'm not shilling for any company, but here's a question for you guys. Put it in the chat. What kind of starch or flattening spray do you use when you iron or press your fabrics or your quilt blocks? I was somewhat of a, is it Mary Ellen's? I think is the one that's really famous, or popular quilt shops. Best Press, Mary Ellen's Best Press, or Flatter. Yeah, okay. Lots of people use Flatter. So I was also one of those people. Okay, so we've got some non-starchers. Okay, some water people, some steam people. I have found this stuff, and again, I think it would be fabulous if they would sponsor the show. They are a large company. I got a lot of my Mary Ellen's Best Press and Flatter for free. So I have a lot of it. But when I run out or don't have access to it, I totally use like the 97-cent bottles of Faultless starch from, it's probably not that cheap anymore. But, Walmart Faultless starch. Last year, I was thinking about making a Lone Star quilt, have not yet got around to it, but I started watching tutorials. Mm-hmm. One of the tutorials, Missouri Star Quilts. They have wonderful tutorials.
Yay! God, Jenny Doan. Oh.
Yeah, Jenny Doan. Actually, she didn't do the tutorial. It was one of the people, I guess, that works for her. She employs the whole town, I think. So. But it was a really great tutorial, and obviously a free tutorial. And I think Susanna, our wonderful, our pie,
Yay.
She recommended it. And so the thing that the woman was talking about was this product by Faultless. If you're in the U.S., you have no doubt used Faultless starch. Like I said, I don't think it's 97 cents a can anymore, but it's the cheap stuff. But Faultless apparently at some point started making something called Premium Quilting and Crafting Spray. It is fragrance and flake free, and it I gotta tell you, it removes the crap out of some wrinkles.
Nice.
This stuff is so amazing. And what I have noticed is that anything that's like really tightly woven, you notice some of your quilting cottons are a little bit thicker and some are more tightly woven, a little bit thinner. It makes those really tightly woven ones almost like paper. Like you can literally put creases, you can do like a little finger press, and it makes it so much easier. So anyway, Faultless, if anybody knows an advertising executive with Faultless who wants to support this show, I am here shilling your quilting and crafting spray because I really like it. And I think I paid like $20 for 3 bottles on Amazon.
Really?
Maybe $25. Yeah.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah,
Faultless. And who, is it? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Faultless is the company. It's Faultless Brands. As far as I know, the only thing I know that they sell is spray starch. I don't think. I'm sure they're part of some family of brands, but anyway. That's a good tip. So yes, Faultless. Yes.
You are faultless, and we appreciate you. That's awesome. By the way, the alert box. I don't want to miss it. That Niflinster, you resubscribed at tier 2. You've been subscribed for 16 months. Amazing. And Hype Train, there was a Hype Train. Oh my God, there was a Hype Train. And
you know who else I noticed? Quilting Nancy, who I think I probably haven't seen in a while. Been subscribed for 17 months. Mary, have you even been on the air for 17 months?
No. Nancy supported me when Quilt Nerd was just a twinkle in my eye. When I was like, nobody's gonna watch anything on Twitch. I'm going for it. I love it. I can't wait. I gotta just do my own thing, man. Like, I gotta be Dogtown and Z-Boys. I gotta, be a skater, I just can't do it the other way, And Nancy was like, I believe in you. And I was like, who are you, Nancy? I love you so much. And she was like, it'll all become clear. If you build it, they will come. It might take a while, but who cares? Because the people who are gonna be there at the beginning, amazing. So, and My Great Cat's resubscribed at tier 2. You've been subscribed for 10 months. You are right in there. And Stitch and Deb resubscribed for tier 1. You've been subscribed for 12 months. Happy year anniversary. Oh man, I missed a bunch of these. Joyce resubscribed with Prime. You've been subscribed for 4 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I genuinely appreciate it. I do. All the follows and the likes and, oh man. I made more progress on that intro video, and I want to play it so bad, but it's not ready. But you're in for a treat as soon as because here's the idea is that we're gonna do a there's gonna be I'm gonna roll the intro at the beginning of every show. Like there's the waiting room, and people are coming in, then I'm gonna roll the beautiful bean footage, right? And it's gonna be like, here's how you support the show, and here's what the show is about. And it's all animated, and it's really fun, and it takes forever to make, but I really like it. And anyway, so that's coming. So it'll tell you about how to subscribe and why you should and all that stuff. But a lot of you already doing that, and I really appreciate it. But one of the things that the video will say is it's really good to just tune in, right? Tune in and watch the show. And if you know somebody who you think would like it, tell them about it. Okay, so here's the second half of the show. And I am sort of ahead of schedule because usually, we're not even here yet. Okay, so I think it was Sherlock, maybe. It was maybe Sherlock, but now I'm not sure. I'm not so Sherlock. I can't. Oh, and by the way, I went into the kitchen and I got more water and I had some Prosecco. I know. It's like, Mary, are you feeling fluish? You don't even understand how much water I've had today. And it's just a thing. I just have to have my little tipple. And there was orange juice in the community fridge. So I made a mimosa. Wow, that looks like I'm drinking tar. That's the green screen. Wow, that does not look... I'm not... It's a mimosa. And you said mimosa at the top of the show, so this is another weird thing.
Weird, and I can promise that is definitely an orangish yellow in the drink. It is not tar.
And it's mostly orange juice. Mostly. Okay, so anyway, so somebody said in the chat the other day, hey, oh, so Dawn, it's so great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, so Dawn, I have to say that I don't know that I've greeted you by name before, but I'm really glad you're at the show, and I'm glad you're here on Twitch. Because it's so much fun. And if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, it's great to see you too. I don't always see you come in because my feed is different. It's not important, but I'm glad you're watching. But the party's really on Twitch if you want to use the fun emotes and anyway. So come over to Twitch when you're ready. So 1978. Okay, Jeanette says it's the year of my birth. The year of my birth, she says. Or I was born. Yes, I was born 1 year later. And the reason that we're looking at this 1978 quilt engagement calendar is because it was somebody, one of you, and I didn't really know what you meant at the time, but I happened to glance down at the chat a couple shows ago, and somebody said 1978 calendar works for 2023. Somebody said that, something to that effect, and I was like, huh. And it went into my brain, and I didn't think of it again until Eric the other day was like, 1978 and 2023, same thing, same days. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I go, honey, it's funny you say that because I happen to have a blank 1978, calendar planner it's a paper cal. We've talked about, I got to have a paper calendar. My whole family, we're paper cal people. We got to do the paper cal. And so the quilt engagement calendar, if you don't know, was produced. We looked at this. We looked deeply into the quilt engagement calendar. Cyril Nelson, I believe, was the person who he was an editor in New York. Yes, Cyril I. Nelson. Very interesting person. Really cool. And the 1978 edition of the quilt engagement calendar was the third edition. And Cyril just seemed like a cool dude. And so anyway, so I have some of these, and look what they came in. They came in these boxes. Sorry. You know what I have? I have a bigger green screen. We've had it a long time, but it needs to be installed. One day, this won't happen anymore. It's like, Mary, 18 months. Quilting Nancy's been supporting you for 3 years, and you can't get a bigger green screen? It takes time. So anyway, so the quilt engagement calendar, this wonderful card. The packaging is so groovy. This pressed cardboard. Man, so good. Hey, it's okay. Thank you so much for gifting a subscription to Oh So Dawn. Oh So Dawn, this is the kind of place you're in. You've happened upon a pretty great community. So you have a 1-month gift subscription from It's Okay. And so you're going to go into the giveaway. We got to do the giveaway. I think Tuesday or something, right? I don't know. We will. book giveaway, and you can use the emotes, the tier 1 emotes. So I decided to, and you don't have to watch ads. It's a great thing. I decided to use this. I'm going to use it. I've already started using it. I mean, I have my PayPal. Dee Marie is like, I'm a PayPal person too. I need to write it down. I need to see it. When I tried to go without a paper calendar, it was a disaster. I mean, it was embarrassing. I couldn't do just the Google thing or just the iPhone thing. My God. So I have to see it. And so I started, I mean, it's January. I can do this. I filled in, I went and like backfilled, some of the stuff that had happened because, oh, look there, the know-it-alls, 4:30 p.m. So I'm going to use it because I figured like, well, this is a neat thing to have from the past. And as an avid journal writer, I mean, I'm a diarist, man. I mean, I write a lot. I write about 1,000 pages a year in my diary and have for a very long time. And those are important. The diary is an important thing in the world because it's a first-person account of a time, of a life. And so I'm a big fan of that. And so I figured, well, this is a very cool thing from 1978, this Quilt engagement calendar that isn't published anymore. But I don't think I'm hurting it to actually keep it as a planner in 2023. I think that makes it a more interesting document, in 100 years if we're still here. Oh, wait, what's going on? Oh, no. Wait, where are you? Why did you...
Mary, I really love the idea of you basically recycling a blank calendar, because you think you have that feeling of like, oh, I had this calendar, I never used it, especially a journal type calendar. I never used it. Well, it's a past year, I'll just throw it away. But that has occurred to me before, and somebody smarter than me can, I have the book that the quilt is in.
Yes. Okay. Yes. This one. Yes. This is published.
It's in a book about cobblestone quilts.
Oh, cool! That's so great.
Yeah.
This one, 1900, and it's one of the quilts featured in this issue or this year's.
Is it?
Quilt. Yes.
Yeah, because I could never find that one. You talked about it recently, and I could never find it. We have Abe links for some of the other years.
Yes.
But anyway, what I was gonna say is, and I'm sure there's one of you nerds that's smarter than me, nerd, can tell us what. I'm sure there's some kind of mathematical way to know, like what is it? I mean, I guess, is it 12? Is it 11? Like, I don't know. What is 2023 and 1978? Like, what is the mathematical explanation for how often you get to reuse a calendar? You guys know this. Somebody knows this.
And Stitch and Deb's like, people in the future will be so confused. You know what I'll do? How about this? Look at this.
Gotta get your label maker out and put a 23 on there.
Listen, I'll do even better. How about this? A Quilt Nerd book plate. It's happening right now. If you want to buy Quilt Nerd book plates, that'll be in the intro video, so it won't be so confusing. Look at this. Watch this. Okay, look. This quilt has been Quilt Nerd approved. Okay. Get my Sharpie out. By Mary Fons, because see, you can write your name in the book plate. Mary Fons, Mary Chicago, on, let's see, 29th, 28th, okay, 28 January 2023. And look at this. The years work out the same. Cool. See? So now the alien beings that will inhabit Earth and find this deep in the bedrock it'll all be clear. Anyway, so this quilt is interesting. The quilts that are featured, every single week, you got a different wonderful quilt, and you can tell. I mean, look how glossy the paper is. They were wonderful. You know what? I have. Thanks, my great cats. The dream is that, Quilt Folk should produce this again, I mean, I think there's enough people who would like something like this, and I think Quilt Folk is the company to do it. So maybe one day I'll be able to head up that project, one project at a time, or 5. So a couple other of the wonderful quilts, and look at this one, this Lemoyne Star, what more do you want out of a quilt? It's so great. 1930, simple as can be. kind of an optical illusion as well. Yeah, man, that's really cool. I bet there's a way. Oh, you could do this without setting any seams. You could do it in all half square triangles. It wouldn't be as pretty, but you could do it, and you'd be making more work for yourself, right? I mean, if you could get the Y seam down and just like rock it out way faster to do your blue and white stars, and then
technically,
right?
You could do like, yeah, I mean, you could make it a giant half square triangle, like a quarter of the star. Because those, if you do those pieced half square triangles, those have no Y seams either.
Molly's in the chat, and you subscribed to Tier 2. You've been subscribed for 16 months. Molly also believed in me when I was but a zygote. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but somehow I feel it does. Thank you, Molly. Molly she's a gem. She's a gem. She's a gem. All the soundboard cues. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some of you would make this, approach this in different ways. But however you did it, I mean, you could make pinwheel. You could just make pinwheel things, and then I don't know, build some horrible thing around each. I don't know. That's probably not the way to go. But look at that, just solid colors. It looks like tile. It really looks like that tile, that like, Moroccan, or just Moroccan-ish kind of tile that we were looking at in those old masters paintings. Bridgewater and VA sent that wonderful book. So okay, so I was like, here's 1978's calendar. I'm gonna use it because the days work out, and it's such a pleasure to see these quilts every week. I love it so much. Oh, one of my favorite quilts of all time, the botanical quilt, Ernestine Eberhardt Zaumzel. It's not gonna work. Well, actually it does, because the green screen takes out the green, but it kind of works. It's so marvelous. And that's at the Met, this quilt, often called the botanical quilt. Anyway, so I thought I'd just show you a couple other quilts that were made in 1978. I mean, that's, because I don't feel great, and we got to cut out before things get too crazy. Here's one. Here's another weird thing. This quilt was made by Helen Kelly. Helen Kelly in 1978, okay? Molly, earlier I showed a picture. Why, I'll show you now. Helen Keller, well, I'm not going to do that. It's a bad idea. I'll screw it up. Helen Keller in Bertha Meckstroth stuff, she met Helen Keller. Well, there's a picture of Helen Keller in Bertha Meckstroth's unpublished memoir or autobiography, and it says, to my friend Bertha Meckstroth, signed Helen Keller, with like a picture of her. Amazing. So this is the Mother Goose cross stitch quilt. 1978. So the year that this she was the jam. Oh yeah, dun dun dun. What? I haven't done that one in a while. Hold on. Oh no. Hang on. What? Where's my dun dun dun? I don't listen, Jeanette. You said dun dun dun, and I don't know where my that sound cue is on my soundboard. I'll get it back.
So you're saying this woman's name is Helen Kelly?
Helen Kelly, yeah, Helen Kelly.
That. And this is a cross stitch quilt. Mm-hmm. And I know we've seen this before, because I feel like there's something with their eyes.
Oh yeah,
that are taken.
Oh, it's so amazing, right?
Yes,
oh,
and
yeah.
also somebody mentioned this is from the Blanche Fisher Wright book, the Mother Goose book. Yes, exactly, exactly.
And someone's saying Danny Lee. Yeah. Kenny and Miss Elaney are noticing this quilting. It does say Danny Lee, and it's quilted into the back. I mean, it when you turn the quilt over, it would say Danny Lee normal. Regular. But it's interesting that was the choice, right? Almost as though it was a mistake. No, not really. But it's interesting that it's reversed on the quilt. Look at the goose. Look how she did that. It's really cool. So the year that this quilt was made by Helen Kelly, maybe she had this. Maybe she had the quilt engagement calendar. It makes sense that she might. And she was recording her days. She was like, lunch with Jane and Cheryl on Tuesday, Wednesday, sewing day. Okay, what other things? This is a great quilt made in 1978. This is Nancy Whittington, Seasons quilt. I've seen this quilt a lot. I don't know. It's published a lot too. And this is from, I lied to you, Steph. Here is one other book. This, The Art Quilts Unfolding from Sakwa. So if you get this book, and you should. I mean, it's really good. It's one of the latest from Sakwa, and Nancy Bevore and Sandra Sider was the editor, and Nancy Bevore, Lisa Ellis, and Martha Seelman worked on the text. It's very good. I mean, Art Quilts Unfolding, 50 years of innovation. Wow, what an accomplishment, And this quilt is in there, page 51, and what they have to say about it is... nothing. Okay. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Nancy Whittington. Yeah, made in 1978, Seasons quilt. And it's ultra suede and satin. Wow. Machine and hand pieced. Hand quilted. To me, this quilt really, really looks like it could be at QuiltCon in 2017. A lot. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of the visual references I have for it, but I mean, it's so QuiltCon 2017 to me. Or now. But I don't know. It's really good, isn't it? Isn't it good? It's so good. I think it's like a quilt church moment. I really do. Has anybody ever sewn with ultra suede or satin in a quilt? What if you did? What would that be like? Maybe you should try it. Ultra suede. It's so groovy.
Ultra suede, honestly, I think ultra suede is probably easier to sew with than satin.
Ultra suede.
I've done some ultra suede on costumes, like cosplay type stuff, but not in a quilt. And ultra suede is like sewing suede. It kind of wants to stick to itself a little bit. Yeah.
Stephanie Kate can sew in anything. I could be like, I have a sheath of Swarovski crystals, and I would like a hat. And she'd be like, when do you need it? And be like, I don't know. Tomorrow. And she'd be like, Tuesday. Okay. Another quilt that is really cool. Well, let's see. Actually, let me go with... Oh, okay. Here's our other creepy thing. This isn't a quilt, but... Speaking of Bertha Mexroth, the reason I queued this up is because in 1978, that was the year that this lady, Barbara Benson, who I called and we connected again, and she's delightful. That 1978 was the year that Barbara Benson, who owned the Walrus Quilt Shop in the suburbs, she put on a show in the Hawthorne Shopping Center, because like the shopping malls were like totally doing their thing in 1978 apparently, but she had a showing of 32 Bertha Mexroth quilts. Yeah, and 32 of those quilts had not been displayed together since 1933. Look at that. Had not been shown publicly since 1933, when Bertha was at the Century of Progress exhibit in the Chicago World's Fair. It's wild. So 1978, same year. So I think that's kind of fortuitous, right? That 2023 and 1978 work out perfectly in terms of like days and stuff, So that was 1978. And then, wait a minute. Tiveve. The Tiveve quilt. This one, the ones we looked at from Polynesia, a long time ago when I was in New York City with my sister Hannah, who will be on the show soon. I can't believe January is over and I haven't had her on. So yeah, the Tiveve quilts, those wonderful quilts that we looked at, and I mean, could I have pronounced the term wrong? No, I remember. I was like, Tifefe? I usually do enough of the prep work beforehand that I would not do so poorly, but I did. Anyway, but these are really interesting quilts, and the things that we'll look at, on this show, like, we'll come back to the things. I mean, there's so much content. There's so many wonderful things to look at in the quilt world, past and present, that, like, TFAA quilts are going to come back, at some point. And they'll probably be referenced by something else, and that's what's so fun about all this. But this was 1978. This quilt, I mean, this is in the Texas Lone Stars book, number 2. I mean, this is just like, are there more, stunning maybe quilts? I mean, the Ultra Suede is kind of a stunner. But this one, a Texas woman in 1978 made this extremely traditional log cabin. And, it works, it really, really works. It's timeless. The colors look a little, they look of the time, there's just kind of that, I don't know, that burnt ochre kind of brown, that was really in there. But it's look, a wonderful, wonderful log cabin quilt. And it is timeless. It's like blue jeans, you can't, it just is. It's a log cabin quilt. It's so great. And the Egyptian, I don't know if I've shown this. I know right where to get it. Met Museum. Cat mummies. Does that mean anything to anybody? Hold on. At the Met Museum, or no, is it the yeah. Or it's the British Museum. The British Museum. Check this out. I don't know if I've ever shown this. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Have you seen that before? I don't know if I've shown it on the show. Those, they're at the British Museum. I've seen them in person. Do you recognize that? So we're talking about, let's see, mummy of an adult cat. This is from the Roman period. Hold on. Yeah. Here too. Look at that. It's courthouse steps. Can you believe it? Yeah. The mummy cats. They're so sweet. Look at them. They're so sweet. They're like, we're just mummy cats.
I've seen pictures of them before, and is that like the wrapping that's around them? Are those things like kind of like basketry? Like I always thought they were sort of like basketry.
It's
like
really,
the one on the left looks like a basket to me.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. I don't know. Wait, let me see. I'm looking at the, okay, mummy of adult cat. This is interesting too. Hang on one second. So let me get, wow, this is really good. Hold on. There's another picture of this kitty cat. Oh, come here. Oh, don't you do that. What are you doing? Save image, or are you going to let me do that? Cat mummy. Okay, hang on. Just bear with me now. Oh, yeah, you are. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well. So, okay, here we go. So this is from the British. So it's canvas. It's like wrapping. It's like mummy wrapping. Okay, actually, yeah, like whatever that was, whatever linen or something.
Yeah, so that one, So right? Then it's like they're doing, it's like a pattern.
It is a pattern. It's really a pattern.
And they use different colors. I was reading an article recently, and I don't remember the details, and I think it was in National Geographic, where they're now realizing that the mummification process is not exactly what they thought it was for.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not to preserve people necessarily.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it has something to do with their understanding of the afterlife. So I'm sorry, I can't remember the details.
Sure.
I probably shouldn't started describing
No,
something.
No, it's good. It's good. Hearing those little bits are great, because then it's in your mind that it's like, there's more to learn, and it's great. It works for me. And yeah. So log cabin, so that's why I thought of it is, people are, it's fascinating. It's like that documentary, Dogtown and Z-Boys. It's like culture is fascinating. These kids, they didn't have anything. They were doing their surfing when they couldn't surf, they wanted that catching a wave, and so they were skating in pools. They put surfboards basically onto wheels, and they skated in pools because there was a drought in California, and they were bored. And so they invented skateboarding. Fantastic. So yeah, people do the same stuff all the time, including doing the same dumb stuff. So you have compassion. Okay, just a couple more, and and then we're out. So Lucas Samaras. So I've been into the pattern and decoration movement these days. There's so much interesting stuff there to look at. And Lucas Samaras, I need to figure out how to say his name, but this was made in 1978. And actually, I don't think he was considered part of the pattern and decoration movement, which is one of the questions I have. Why not? Because he seems very much in that. No, maybe that's not true. I think he was considered. I'm thinking of the book that I have, and I'm pretty sure they included some Lucas Samaras. Does anybody know how I should pronounce that? Samaras? And by the way, Sohani, umbrella holders, not umbrella holders, but the cat mummies on the audacity. No, I'm kidding. I love it. It's great. I actually kind of thought the same thing, but I didn't have words for it. It was really great. So let's see. What can he say? You have a noodler's aha flex. What is this table talk? Noodler aha.
There's a bit of fountain pen discussion going on.
Oh yes, the pen addict. I did see that come across. Listen, Twitch, if you're new to Twitch, it's got so many cool things. I don't know. I just keep exploring channels, and we got to do those raids. I keep forgetting about raids. We should raid. Anyway, when it's late, I don't think about things like that. So then the last thing here is Miriam Shapiro, another pattern and decoration movement thing, which is important to quilt making. And again, here we have like the whole world is our oyster when we look at quilts, because Miriam Shapiro was a really important artist. This was made in 1978. It's called Double Rose. And Miriam Shapiro, this pattern and decoration thing, quilts were absolutely an influence for her. She spoke about it. And she was a very prominent artist in this pattern and decoration movement. And so she created something that she called femage. And it was like collage with, it's a feminist, it's like in the sort of truest word of let me put focus on women. Let me celebrate women. Let me turn your attention toward women and their life and their struggle and their experience. And so she would decoupage basically, aprons and doilies and lace, onto canvas. And she cut these she did a lot of fans. There were a lot of fans, and actually on the fly, I'm going to show you too Wonderland, and then that's going to be our Miriam Shapiro. Yeah, there it is. Wonderland is a really famous work. And I'm going to grab it, and it's at the Smithsonian, and it's a big deal. Let me get a good, come on now. I want a really nice photo of it, a really nice high-res image. This is the perfect thing, really, to end on. Great. Here we go. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so... Yeah, this is fantastic. It really shows the femage thing, and it also, there's so many quilt blocks in it. Here we go. Miriam Shapiro.
By the way,
Yeah.
For the pronunciation for it's Lucas Samaras.
Samaras. Like Good Samaritan. Lucas,
Yeah.
Good Samaritan Samaras. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Little champagne for you. Yeah, so here you can see the I mentioned I don't want to open OBS. That's weird. So you can see the this femage, right? So here are aprons that she put together. Tea towels. Look, that's crochet, a crocheted apron. Welcome to our home, embroidery, doilies. So these were all, part of her thing. It's gorgeous, right? Drink wine and soul in. Agreed. And And you can kind of let that Lucas Samaras, right? Pattern and decoration. You see like what they were doing. It was pattern and decoration, and it was a lot of the art establishment, like, rejected it because it was, feminine and it was chicks and stuff and it was quilts. Look at the border. And this is all on canvas. I mean, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's board or something, but those are, does anybody know what that block is? I know we all know it. It probably has many names, but do you know? That's a morning print, by the way. So that would be actual fabric, I guess. Interesting. Very interesting. Tony Hawk. Oh, Tony Hawk. Bridgewater. Oh, yeah, Tony Hawk. Easter egg marble dies. Yeah, Quack Quack Cat. Totally. And what's interesting, too, is, like, when you look at this stuff. So I did, like, a little Miriam Shapiro thing in grad school. And I just want to show you one of her early things. And she was in this, this is called Big Ox. And this was an early piece that she did. And when you compare it to Wonderland, I mean, this was 1967. And it's called Big Ox. And look at the difference. Yeah. 1967. So what I see when I look at this, and I don't know enough about her to really speak about it with authority, but I look at this and I'm like, well, she was in a boys' world with abstract art and like modernism, I don't know, but like, Barnett Newman and like Yves Klein and like, they're doing like hard shapes, Rothko and all that stuff. I think I'm kind of right here. And so Big Ox is in 1967 and, and then you see that and it's like such a difference, Anyway.
To me, this could be that could have been an amazing sculpture.
Yeah.
But also it's like major graphic design. Like,
yeah, right. And it is kind of like the entrance to the womb. You could also interpret like
that too.
She's ready.
Yeah.
She's ready to go, so it's great. She's really interesting. Anyway, everybody, what a fun stream. I mean, the show health, it's running out. I can tell it's running out, but God, good times. Good times. This is my favorite thing to do. Whoa. Okay. Let's see. What is this? What can I do? Ugh. That's weird. Ooh. I have this strange crown. Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate everybody who's watching and people who are new, and the gift subscriptions and the I'm just trying to think. It's okay. Gave to Quilt Dawn. I'm trying to think. Gamer Granny, hi, hey, how you doing? Anyway, so for the folks who've never been here before, I hope that you Dawn, you got a gift subscription, and thank you so much. Yeah, we have a good time. We just look at art and stuff. Quilts are art, so yeah, makes sense. Stephanie Cake, you're the best. I'm so glad you got to sew.
Me too.
Yeah.
Now I have other work to do, but
cool. Okay, everybody. I'll see you later. I'll see you on Tuesday, and we will continue our journey together. Okay. Bye, y'all. Take care, all right? Was Babe in here tonight? I didn't see you, but hi, Babe. Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.